I'm Naila.
And I'm Aulia.
And welcome to
Hear Us YAP.
So Aulia, I have to tell you something. I was scrolling through my phone until 2 a.m. last night.
Oh no, what happened, Nai? That sleep schedule again?
Yes, but my feed was full of Indonesian students speaking English so perfectly, like their accents were insane.
Right, Nai. I see that all the time too. It honestly makes a person wonder where they even learn that.
Exactly, like do they actually take expensive classes or what?
Maybe some of them do, Nai, but I think nowadays a lot of people improve English through the internet and digital platform outside the classroom.
That's true. This informal digital learning is such a huge phenomenon right now.
It really is nice. People are learning English everywhere, anytime they want.
Exactly, which brings up our title today is Fluent English Without Classrooms, the truth about learning English online.
And here's the big question we will be discussing today. Can someone become fluent in English without ever attending a formal classroom? Let's yap about it!
Well, yeah, I think it's possible.
Really? What makes you say that?
If we're talking about learning English outside the classrooms, there were so many resources that are available today.
Exactly, Nai. And what interesting is that many people use those resources without realizing they are actually learning English.
Yes, and even called the term of it is called ADLE or informal digital learning of English.
Yeah, basically it means learning English independently through digital technology outside the classroom.
Yes, I think most of us have experienced it.
Definitely, take YouTube for example.
Yeah, I usually watch BBC Learning of English or English with Lucy. They're really helpful for learning vocabulary and improving my pronunciations.
Mine is Speaking with Vanessa. She explained everything in really simple ways, so it doesn't feel like studying.
Yeah, and when I get bored watching learning videos, I just switch to Netflix.
Me too. Watching movies or TV series is actually one of my favorite ways to practice listening.
Yeah, I even pause a scene and repeat what the characters say.
That's the shadowing method, right?
Exactly, you imitate their pronunciations, intonations, and accent. It feels a little awkward at first, but for a while you start sounding much more natural.
Well, Nai, I actually do something similar but with music.
Really? How?
So I don't just listen to the song, but I read the lyrics and look up unfamiliar words and learning new expression or idioms, and then I try to using them in my own sentences.
Oh, that's a detective matter, right?
Yep, that's right, Nai. It's fun because learning English through song is already enjoy.
Yeah, speaking of fun, Leah, online games are another great example.
Definitely, Nai, like games like Valorant or PUBG make you communicate with teammates in different countries.
Yeah, if you don't speak, your teammates won't get it the strategy.
It's funny, Nai, because when the match gets really insane, your English become fluent.
Yeah, that's actually so true.
I learned new slang from TikTok and Instagram that I never seen on textbooks. I'm Naila, and I also like reading on Twitter because it exposes us to the kind of English that people actually use in everyday conversation. Yeah, and of course we can forget AI, right? Definitely, Nai. I use ChatGPT to check my grammar, English syntax, or anything I can understand. And then I also use it to practice my conversation. Yeah, and it's like having a study partner that available 24/7. Exactly, Nai. All these activities are example of IDLA, showing that technology has become an important part of learning English today. Yes, and as we can see, there are so many fun and practical ways to learn English beyond the classrooms. And honestly, Leah, after talking about all these platforms, I can totally understand why so many people enjoy learning this way. Same, Naila. So, what's your favorite part about learning English outside the classroom?
Definitely the flexibility. Like I can study whenever I want. Sometimes I'm in the mood study at midnight, so no one's stopping me.
That's so true, Night. Everyone has their own productive hours. Some people learn better in the morning, and while others are basically night owls.
Exactly, and because you're learning on your own, you can go at your own pace. If something is difficult, you can just pause, replay, or watch it again.
I love that too, Night. There's no pressure to keep up with the rest of the class.
Another thing I really like is learning from authentic materials.
Right, Night. Instead of reading textbook dialogue like "Hello, how are you?" over and over again.
You actually hear how native speakers communicate in movies, podcasts, YouTube videos, right?
And sometimes Night they using slang or using everyday expression that we never learn in class.
Exactly. It makes your English sound much more natural.
And I also think it's more enjoyable because you got to choose what you want to learn.
Totally. If you love cooking, watch cooking videos. If you are into footballs, you can watch football interviews. You are learning English while enjoying your hobbies.
Which means it doesn't really feel like studying anymore.
But as great as it sounds, learning by yourself isn't always easy, right?
Definitely not nice. There are still few challenges that every self-directed learner has faced.
Exactly. Honestly, sometimes I have no idea whether my English is correct or not.
Yes, Nai, especially in pronunciation. You think you've been saying a word correctly?
Yeah, and then someone suddenly tells you you've been pronouncing it wrong a whole time.
That's happened to me before, Nai.
Yeah, and grammars can be tricky too. Like AI can correct your sentence, but it doesn't always explain why they're wrong like it teachers does.
Another challenge is staying consistent.
Yeah, oh, don't remind me. I'll be super motivated for 3 days.
And then suddenly you forget to study for a whole week, Nai.
Exactly, without homework or deadlines, it's really easy to lose motivations.
Yes, I also think speaking practice is one of the hardest part, Nai.
Yeah, definitely. Watching video is really helpful, but the videos can talk back to you.
Unless you have someone to practice with, it's hard to know whether you are actually improving.
Even though learning independently has a lot of advantage,
It also has some challenges that are difficult to ignore.
which makes me think like maybe that's why classrooms are still important.
I think so too, Nai. A classroom gives you a clear learning path, so you don't have to keep wondering, like, what should I learn next?
Exactly. Everything is already organized so you can improve step by step instead of learning randomly.
And honestly, Nai, one thing technology still cannot replace is the teacher feedback, I think.
Yeah, I remember submitting on essay that I thought was pretty good.
And then getting back full of comments from the lecturers.
Yeah, same. At first I was shocked, but those comments really helped me improve.
Exactly, Nai. Teachers don't just correct grammar only. They also explain things like cohesion and coherence, which are really important to academic writing.
So classroom don't just improve our English, but they also help us build communication skills and confidence.
Which bring us to the final question.
Do you think technology can completely replace the classrooms?
Nai, honestly, I don't think so.
Really? Even with AI learning so advanced?
Don't get me wrong, AI is amazing. It can explain grammar, answer questions.
And it's much cheaper than taking private English course.
Exactly, but teachers do something that technology cannot.
like understanding when students are confused, stressed, or losing motivations.
Right now, teacher can change the way they explain something, encourage students, and create a real discussion.
Yeah, technology is great for learning informations. So maybe the real question isn't which one is better.
Maybe it's how can we use both together?
So, can someone become fluent in English without the classrooms?
Yes, it's possible, but classrooms still provide guidance, feedback, and interaction that technology cannot fully replace. The best way to learn English is by combining the strengths of technology and classroom learning.
Thanks for listening.
See you in the next episode of Hear Us Yap.